Hi there. I'm Hanne Nuutinen, the Channel Business Podcast host. And as you can see, I am out here in the woods. And why I'm here is something that I want to share with you now. The Channel Business Podcast that I'm hosting is all about sharing ideas, business tips and insights for leaders, future business owners, and every person who wants to develop your own ideas and thoughts and practicalities, the methods to take businesses and your leadership skills forward. But what is special about being here up in the woods is that Channel Business Podcast is taking part to Superwood Festival, which is all about Northern Oddity. It's all about combining different arts, music, industries, businesses, people from different backgrounds and different interests together to make new critical thoughts, ideas and innovations forward, and just to have fun and relax. So I was truly excited when Paula Suhonen, the person behind the brand called Ivana Helsinki and the organizer of Superwood Festival, asked me to join with my podcast, Channel Business Podcast, to be part of the Superwood Festival in year 2022. So what we did there at the Superwood Festival in the woods and with the Northern Oddity and the Scandinavian Design Studio was that we are diving into business topics with Finnish entrepreneurs from different industries.
What's so interesting about Finnish education that we were in Finnish school, it wasn't that big thing.
Well,
so it's like, why would DreamWorks Animation ever contact a small company from Finland and want to do a cooperation?
But why not? You will get to hear some business tips, insights, lessons learned, and I hope that some new ideas how to take your business forward or how to take your leadership forward. So let's dive into the woods and see what the episodes will give to you. Hey Sari!
Hey.
I want to warmly welcome you to the Channel Business Podcast with Hanne to talk about what is essential in business and how to take it forward. I'm truly happy to have you here. One of the Finnish female entrepreneurs after another, and now a woman who does business all over the world from Finland. But I want to start with something so the audience knows who we're talking to. By your own words, who is Sari Hurme-Mehtälä?
That's funny because I have so long last name that every time I'm in the out from Finland, I always just say, like, just call me Sari. The last name is too hard to pronounce. So I am Sari, short and sweet in a way. I'm a mother of 2 young kids. I kind of feel like I always have to say that because that has kind of raised me as well. At the same time, I'm raising my kids. And then I'm also female entrepreneur. I also want
Maybe that's one of the reasons why we
here
who
today.
are mothers are always mentioning
yes.
that. Yeah.
And then previously I was working for marketing and sales positions in big companies. Then I had these 2 lovely babies and felt like I really want to do something more meaningful. And then I found my 2 other female co-founders, and then kind of I always had the feeling that I want to do something meaningful. I maybe want to start a company, but I didn't have my own innovation that I was feeling that I should kind of pursue. And then when I heard what Jenny and Aino was doing, I was like, sold, I want in, and then we started the company, which maybe I'm going to tell more later.
I hope you do, because that is something that I'm truly very passionate about, and it brings so many same kind of values what we have together. So I truly want to talk about that.
One more thing, what I am also, because I actually was supposed to become an artist when I was in high school.
What kind of artist?
Well, I went and applied for Aalto University for the TAIK, which is like taideteollinen korkeakoulu,
like
art part for the Aalto University. I almost got in, but when I didn't, I then just changed everything and went for the business and advertising and stuff. But nowadays I do also abstract art, which I love to be here.
Paintings and such?
Abstract art paintings with acrylics and everything. So that's also really close to my heart, and that's why I also love the startup life, everything what we do, because it's kind of really innovative and creative what we try to teach for the children as well, and that's a big part of my...
That's a big part of you.
Yeah.
I like that. The different aspects of the life and like different industries, different businesses comes together. But what made you, besides meeting these two other co-founders, what really is the thing why you are in the education and technology business? What was there the thing that excites you and makes you
I think like
forward?
I didn't choose the EdTech or education technology business. It kind of came as an automatic thing after I met Jenny and Aino. So it was more like I was working for Samsung, for the big IT company there as a marketing manager, and we were the biggest sponsor in Slush event, which is the big startup event, also known internationally. And when we were there as a main organizer there, and I kind of saw all those amazing innovations, what the other startup founders were doing, there I had the spark that I would really love to be a startup entrepreneur.
You want to do something like that?
Yeah, and I felt like exactly like 10 years before, it was not a cool thing to be a startup entrepreneur. It was like, that's like the only thing, if you don't success in life, then you would start a company. Like you try to hustle the money.
That was the bias maybe before. Yeah,
exactly. And my mom and dad they have never been entrepreneurs or anything like that. So it wasn't in our family. But then when I met these two amazing ladies, researcher and a teacher, they had the idea of this new educational innovation. And that was then like, oh my God, something for the kids, something for the future generation. And
something meaningful.
Yeah, something meaningful. So I really feel like if we want to change the world, it has to happen through education.
So, well, tell us, how do you help in Kide Science, which is the company that you co-founded together and you are the CEO? How does it help kids and the early education professionals? Yeah,
it's actually, I think it's easier to explain how it kind of started, why we even started that, was that Jenny was a chemistry and the researcher, chemistry and math teacher for teenager. And then she was starting to think like, well, the girls are not interested about science that much. They always feel like, it's for the boys or something, or they felt it's too complicated. And they were not so excited. So we need more females also for technology fields, and that's so. Then she tried to find out how to get the excitement for girls, but everybody to pursue more, that they are excited about science
from the earlyhood.
Yes, and it was quite clear that you have to start earlier than the teenage years. So then she realized that, okay, we have to do already something in the early years when the children's identity is built and their motivation to learn and what they think that they are capable of, what they want to do in life. And they are also at that age, if you have young kids, they ask like 100 questions per day. Yeah. So they are naturally curious.
Fast. Yes. And curious, yes.
Yes, they are super curious. So if there would be a 2-year-old here, they would maybe spill the class and think and see what happens.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's kind of, they try to find out how the world around them functions. So through Kide Science, we then try to understand how to teach the children and how to do activities with children that they are excited to learn, and they can do the problem solving themselves, that it doesn't come that the teacher or parent says that do this and this, and then they follow and then it's done. It's more like that
experience-based.
Yeah, it's somehow kind of like flipped learning in a way, that the children are actually doing everything, and then they create the aha moments, which is
because they understand how
they understand,
and they figure it out
exactly. So we just give them a setup, and it's like we have the technology platform for teachers and parents, so they get access to all the resources that they can then do the setup at home in kitchen or in the classroom, and then the children do hands-on problem solving, learn by doing, and then they figure out how to help, for example, characters in our stories, and they are the innovators, they are the problem solvers, which is then more meaningful for them as well.
Of course, because when you get your hands on something, of course it teaches you much better, I would think, and I think there's lots of researches also that whoever, adults or kids, learn it much better that way.
Yeah.
And then it stays there, and you maybe figure out the different options.
definitely.
But that's the whole idea with Kide Science, putting the education and technology together.
Yep.
And to go forward.
And innovations and creativity, exactly like the art part and the creativity. I think there are many science or STEM technology companies who are like teaching robotics or coding and those type of things, but they are not using usually the creative part or the art part.
And that's the one that differentiates you from the others, right?
And we start always from the stories and imagination. Well, it's like think beyond what you already know is only through imagination. If you you just teach facts for the kids, you could Google them easily, and then they are easily forgotten. So we try to build the skills and creative learning.
I like that, because nowadays the kids they've grown basically with the iPhone or something in their hands or a tablet, and whatever you can Google there, that's what you can learn.
Yeah.
But to take kids out of that to actually do something with their hands or with the technology their side.
Yeah,
is the thing. And how has it gone with you? I know that, as we mentioned, you're global already. You work in 30 different countries. I checked that, and I think that's within the time frame that you work. I think it's huge, and especially for a Finnish company and for a Finnish female-led company. How did you do that? What gave you the big idea to conquer the world?
It was kind of an accident, actually.
Okay, tell more. I want to hear the story behind the accident.
It's that when Jenny did the research, and it was also all around news in Finland, we had the TV show actually Pikku Kakkonen in Finnish TV show, and then there are a lot of teachers and schools who actually visit Finland to understand why the Finnish education
system is so good. Yes.
So we had the Finnish education brand there, and then we had a new innovation that was research-based. We had a TV show. We actually did also a book series with Oppia Ilo from the Sanoma company. So there was something that was interesting, and maybe by Google or with those visits, somehow the word spread. And when we started, we actually started first in Malaysia. Okay. Then in Thailand, suddenly we were in China, then we were in Latin America, and all those different countries which...
So like really, really far away from where we are at the moment in Helsinki, Finland.
Exactly, but when we started the company, we didn't have the technology platform, which was kind of then... my job as a business person to try to understand how can we scale this internationally without that we actually fly to Malaysia, to other side of the world to train the teachers, because it started in a way that we trained the teachers face to face and let them kind of all the
like the
knowledge.
Old way.
Yes, the old way that trained the teachers, and then they would do the activities with children. And then it was like, well, we have to scale Jenny and Aino and those other female founders or clone them. So
you didn't find the way to clone them, so
so then that wasn't the innovation. So we actually just then developed the platform and made the teacher training there available, and then all the resources. And then after that, it has been a little bit like trying to find out all the time the best channels and best scalabilities. But even though we are in 30 countries, it doesn't mean like we make millions of revenue. It's actually that not yet. We wanted to start with the way that you can, as a even though you don't have even money or you are not from the rich company or country or as a rich parent, that you can also use our platform for free. So we have this kind of a freemium model.
So it's accessible for very many people.
Yes, so anybody could come to our website and start the freemium when you can get the basics of our solution for free. And then if you need all the features, everything you want, then you would subscribe to a monthly or yearly plan.
So is that one of the reasons why you've gone global so fast?
I think so. And then I think any startup who usually, and when I'm talking about startup, I mean not like a flower store you would build. It's like a startup when you are usually also raising money from a venture capitalist and those that you are expected to be the next big unicorn and get the 100 million revenue. It's usually that you grow with the investment money first. So then it's like we started immediately when we started the company, we started to raise money as well.
So you took the capital outside of your own pockets.
Exactly. Right? So it didn't. We didn't build it for the revenue. which would be, of course, kind of more healthier way in a way. But we also felt like to get the bigger impact, we need money to scale that fast.
Exactly.
So, that's kind of like the startup way.
I have to ask this at this point, because you are 3 women who founded, and you 3 women still lead the company. And what I faced is that and what we had in the previous discussions here, that it's hard for women to raise the capital in order to grow the company anywhere in the world. That's what I've heard and learned.
Yep.
How did you do that? And there's the thing, I just read from somewhere that you raised 3-point-something millions just now, so congratulations for that one. That's a big thing. But how do you do that? And was it equal for all one of you that you had this idea that yes, we are going with this path?
Yeah, it was when we started the company, we decided that we actually made a decision that we won't found the company as a business like LTD before we get the money. So
elsewhere.
Yeah, and we got the Reactor Ventures from Finland, the big IT company, as our first investor. So then we actually found the company when we got the investment. So that was really clear in our way that we wouldn't put like tens of thousands our own money to try to build it first.
Which is the usual way,
yeah,
especially for women.
It
right?
is, and
like
of course I worked also with my six-month baby, trying to raise the money like without any salary or something. Of course, before we then got the money, we did it kind of for free, but we didn't put like thousands of euros our own money. So that was said in the beginning that we wanted to be the venture capital startup unicorn type of a company. And then the money raising, actually it was just, I was in Norway in Norwegian Oslo Innovation Week, and they said that 0.7 of the investment money
goes to women.
Percentage goes to female founders in the Nordics.
Correct.
So, and there are more Vesa called guys in Finland than, for example, female leaders in total, and those. So, it's really, really small amount that female founders get the money.
It is.
But of course, I don't know. Would it be easier for us if we would be male founders? You never kind of know that. And we have been rejected like I don't know how many times. So we have received all the time no's, but that's kind of the basic when you are raising the money. It's like either the investor, it's like you are not in part of their investment thesis, or they don't invest in EdTech or education. And that's also something that when we started to raise money in Finland, every Finnish investor were like, well, what's different and what's so what's so interesting about Finnish education, that we were in Finnish school, it wasn't that big thing.
Well, that's the perspective.
Yeah. But so then we actually went to outside of Finland. So we then went to the EdTech VCs and investors who actually know how the EdTech and education world works. And after pandemic, it's now more trendier than ever that
it is.
That investors also want to invest in EdTech companies and impact companies. So.
That's right. So you just made the decision altogether and then just went.
Yeah.
Exactly. And did that.
And that's
a big thing for women.
Yeah, it is. And I think that at least what Jenny and I know as a researcher and teacher said, that they needed the business person, also the person who knows what revenue means, what profit
to sell
means,
and market and all that.
Yeah, and also like I think the fundraising part is also all the time. It's marketing. How you talk about your company and how you convince the other one to invest in your company. And at the beginning, I felt also, or I feel that actually the investors are investing to you as a founder. We actually pitched totally different company or product for investors. And they said, we will give you the money, but not for that idea, because we were actually trying to build an app for like a home lab app type of a thing. And then they said like, well, you have this totally different kind of really hands-on learning type of a thing, that try to scale that first and we will give money for that. Because they also know that it would take a lot of money to build the platform. And we did that. The latest platform was developed like last year. So it's like we validated everything with these teacher trainings face-to-face and stuff, and then built the platform when we knew what to build.
Wow, that's really good. And I love that you've taken the hard path and you went and towards the aim what you had, and received the goal. But I also know what I would also like you to share with the audience is that you've gone through many different competitions and you've won so many different awards. What is all of that? What is that about? And why did you choose to go and apply for such things? And you just came from New York, and you succeeded there. But what is behind? Because I don't think very many people understand that.
Yeah, and it's like actually when I think I just calculated we have been winning maybe more than 30 different awards. 30. So it's like throughout the 40 years. Yes. So not that we have always had the first place, but like we were being like finalists, or we have been chosen as the top 3 or top 5 or something.
That's a big thing.
It is, and some people then feel like, okay, so what do you get? You usually actually don't get any money. Like we have maybe received like 10,000 euros in total from all those awards. So you don't do that for money.
Yeah.
But we have actually seen that it helps for our team to also get the validation that someone else also believes you, that you have something there. Investors are not that into the awards. They don't think you have to show the business. You have to show the business case and all that, and the team building. But well, if you have awards, it's a nice thing. But then every time you are pitching and doing in those competitions, you get also publicity, you get PR. Usually somebody writes about you that these are the top 5 winners or whatever. Like, for example, I was now in New York. We won first the early childhood education track, and then we were the top 5 finalists, one of the winners. So we were then interviewed to many different publicity and media articles as a winner.
So it spreads the word.
It spreads the word. And for example, we started a cooperation now with DreamWorks Animation, and they contacted us. We first thought it's a scam or spam, like why they would even contact us.
Wow.
We didn't answer to their first email.
Really?
Yes. So it's like, why would DreamWorks Animation ever contact a small company from Finland and want to do a cooperation?
But why not?
Oh, well, why not? Yes, of course you could think now. Yeah. But they said that they kind of found us from one of the like top 10 EdTech companies to follow in 2022. So it's like somebody always, talk always every time you have a chance. Talk about your company
to different people, because you never know who you meet.
Exactly, and make the risk to put you out there and talk about it, and then it might give you another introduction to somebody else, even if you don't win.
I like that. So just go for it, and even though that you don't win the money, but it gives you so much other things.
Definitely.
And that's the thing that why you should go through that.
And also I think, like, of course, like if you now go back to 4 years back and see how we talked about even our company or how we pitched us, it's totally different, and we have learned so much. So it's also like, also when you are fundraising, just talk, and you will learn every time something new from it, even though you wouldn't get the funding or you wouldn't win the award.
Exactly. So you build up.
Yeah.
Different things, your company and the behaviors and the ways that you act and do the business, but also the pitching and yourself as a leader. Next time you
are always a little bit more confident about doing it.
So it's all about the practice and just go for it.
Exactly.
Cool. But why is it for us adults and parents and teachers and education professionals and all of us in any level to what's the important thing to understand these engaging parts of the technology and the experiment?
Is it like why the engagement is so big part of it?
Why is so important? What do you think?
I think it's just, no matter if we are kids or adults, if you think about that, you were in a school, for example, and you were in part of a lecture, either in the university or in the school, and somebody was giving a presentation or a lecture. If it wasn't engaging for you, it was like from other ear to the other part. So if you don't create the excitement, usually you then even don't, you forget what you were actually even doing about. So to get the passion and motivation to be excited about something, it also then makes you actually want to learn about it. It gives you bigger memory about the things that you were engaged about something or excited. Of course, you would want to have that feeling again. So it's like, okay, let's learn a new thing. And if you think about like the first things when you were a kid, what were the first thing you, for example, learned to do a spin wheel or whatever? Like, it's like those kind of moments live forever.
Exactly. So they give the encouragement.
Exactly.
Right.
When you actually learn to do something, even learn to bike or something, it's like when you learn that yourself, you are capable of doing it. It's much more powerful than just hearing what somebody says and then trying to repeat what they just said.
And is that one of the reasons and the things that the world has known you and get to know you through the different medias and words and victories, and also because of the other, like you told, different people and education professionals came to Finland to study the system here, and then they got to know you, and that's how you went forward. But is that one of the things why they did it, and you have spread because you engaged also the teachers but also the kids?
Yeah, I think in general we talk about like we are doing playful inquiry or playful learning.
And you mentioned something about the stories.
Exactly. Yeah. So the differentiation, there are science education programs around the world, but usually they are teaching like let's watch a video about how do trees grow. So it starts from the facts. It starts from the real
and
life.
And not from the excitement or experiment.
Or from the imagination. So we are kind of giving the information for the children. They might then do some hands-on experimenting afterwards.
Yeah.
But it's like it never starts from the imagination part that the children can start to think outside of the box.
I see.
And that's quite common in Finland that we do a lot of playful learning in early childhood education, for example.
Okay.
Or we go to the woods and we experiment from there and try to think about what can we build with sticks or something. So that type of thing is quite natural in Finland. But
not elsewhere.
Not elsewhere.
I see.
I have seen so awful situations in kindergarten where there are like 3-year-old children, like 30 of them, and sitting on the in the stool, like it looks like they are in a school.
Really?
And teacher says something, do something, and they have to do it. Like everybody
exactly
is
like
doing
that.
the same. They're like robots in a way.
Oh.
And that's something like we try to change the world, that the teachers also get the confidence that through playful inquiry and playful learning it actually is meaningful and you get better outcomes compared to the ones that you put the pressure for the young kids then you test them, what did they learn, and then they just talk like rote
they
learning
just
stuff.
repeat the things whatever the teacher has said.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's not long lasting, but to actually make that through to the teachers and principals, and it might be even that especially, for example, in Asia, that the teachers want to do more playful learning, but then the parents are pressuring them, or the principal is pressuring them that you don't know then what they actually learn. You have to put them in a test, you have to pressure them and rank them and those type of things. So it's total new thing that people think they should do, but they don't know how to do it, and that's kind of like why they then come to Finland to understand like how to actually do it. And then in our case we have really detailed resources for the teachers to help their work, that they actually can start doing it.
So it's easy for the, let's say, outside world of the Finland, and those teachers who have gone through the old, what we call here the old system and not so experimental. For them to try the experimental system.
Exactly, and actually even like I was in the New York last week, and the teachers get the type of curriculum, it's like opetussuunnitelma. So they get the curriculum, like top level thing that they need to teach this and this for the young kids, but they don't get the lesson plans. So then they have to create their own lesson plans for it. And usually you have to do it at the same time you are teaching the kids, so you have all the time the pressure of doing better job, but you don't have actually time for doing it. So then we would help with the teachers with getting them ready high quality materials that they just follow and they know that it's good for the children.
So you kind of give the curriculum,
or the lesson
in
plans
a way,
for
lesson
the
plans for them.
Yes, and then they can be they get the self-confidence that they can also teach even science, even though they have zero background from science. And that's something that even in Finland we see that it's really motivating for the teachers. Early years teachers in Finland, they have zero science background. They don't maybe even know that they are teaching sometimes science in early childhood education. So they feel the lack the confidence how to teach that, because they don't know nothing about science.
And no one can know everything.
Yeah, exactly. But that's not the idea, that you don't teach the science facts. You teach and you just try
the
out.
methodology behind.
Yeah, and you just try it and play with the kids. That's kind of like, and we try to get that for the teachers and parents.
So it's fun, it's enjoyable, experimental.
Yeah, you don't have to teach the knowledge.
Yeah.
You don't have to know what's the science explanation behind
or what
this.
comes out of it.
Yeah.
Right.
So if a young child asks you how do rainbows form, you don't have to Google it and tell exactly how do rainbows form. I'm not sure, do I even know how to do it like or explain it. It's just like, okay, let's try to find out. So let's put a flashlight here and see
what happens.
What happens. Actually, the rainbow comes here. So maybe it's something, is it that do we always need water, or is it just the reflection or something else? So
and then you just go and wonder together, and that's the engaging part with the teachers and the kids.
You don't have to tell them the chemistry table or something like from the Google what happens.
Yeah.
And usually we are like, oh, ask dad, I don't know. Or ask someone else, I don't know, and then you just forget it. But it's more important, like, what do you think should we explore and try together? And that's how the new innovations work.
Well, that's how it comes, that's how we got electricity back in the days, right?
Yeah, and sometimes it's actually that somebody tried something and it went totally wrong way, and that's a new innovation. That they actually figured out something that they weren't originally even.
Along the way, yeah. Correct. I think that's fascinating, but why do you want to change the world of education and technology? Why is there? You mentioned about the kids and putting things forward. But
yeah, and I think it comes every time I go to a new country or a new place. It's more evident that we really need to change the world through education, that we get the next generation. I kind of feel like our generation is kind of ruined already, but from the next generation might actually kind of change the world, and they might actually solve our biggest climate problems or those type of things. And how to teach them already in the early childhood kind of the skills and the mindset that they can do the change, not to put them into a just like you're not worth it and we cannot change anything. And I hope that we get better leaders also in the world, that when we kind of teach how to act from the childhood and build the identity and have less those type of people we had in the US, the Trump and stuff, who think that there's no climate change and
not going to the politics, but just the ways of acting and behaving and what
and
it evolves
critical
to different
thinking skills. Exactly, like if there is somebody saying something, is it true or not? Should I actually figure it out
should
myself?
you question that?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you kind of came to, or we crossed paths. This is my next question that I want to ask you about. Being the leader and being in the education and technology field, what can we all learn from your perspective and from your experiences? What we can take from your business to any other business that there is?
I think it's exactly like what we even try to teach for the kids. You have to just try out and learn the kind of your way. Of course, you can get the inspiration, and I feel like my best mentors are just talking to other founders and other companies, even
from different industries,
everything. It's like to learn from others, but then at the same time you have to try it yourself. Nobody can give you. We have I think 20 different investors and advisors who I ask advice, and they might say totally different things. It's exactly like you get the input and you get the advice, but then really you have to try it. And the smaller you can try the small things, it's not then that big risk if that fails in a way. So if you can try out small things that, okay, let's see even with advertising if this works, and then if somebody actually wants to pay for it or use it, then let's build it. So you kind of try out different things, what works, what resonates.
So be more brave to try out different things.
Exactly, yeah, and I think that has been in our team really, really effective, that people also, they don't ask my permission to do something all the time, so it's like there's
building the authority also.
It's really like I want to give the feeling for the team as well that I don't know all the answers. I have hired you here to do your job in a way that you are much more smart in this than I am.
And that's how the puzzle goes.
Exactly.
It needs all the different pieces.
Yeah, right. So they can try out the things, and of course if you need bigger decisions, I'm happy to do that and take the blame them if that fails, but otherwise you have to
it doesn't go according to the plan.
Yes. So try out no matter what industry are you in, and also as a leader, I hope that we get more leaders who just don't say that you have to do it
this
like
way.
This. Right. It's more like you figure it out and let's try this and then come back and let's see, should we continue together, or something different? Should we should we pivot? I think we have kind of pivoted our company many times. We started from science clubs, teacher training programs, we have had TV show, books and everything, and now we are kind of SaaS platform, making it easy to scale. And so it's like we have done many things as well along the way, even though the core pedagogy is the same and the kids don't see any difference.
But that must be one of the reasons, because you've tried so many different things, that where you are now.
Yeah.
It has had to take those
and of course we have the pandemic, we have the war now, and it's also like we have had different markets that also, it was huge risk for us that we started focusing on China market, and then we had to kind of end the whole market because of there were many education legislations and stuff. So it's like you have to sometimes take the risks, and
just go and see what happens.
If I would now I wouldn't go there now if I know where the world is now in this situation. But
how could you know the future? Right?
Exactly.
So you just have to go and try. Well, this kind of comes to my next question, that I keep saying these mantras that show up and stand up and speak out loud and shine who you are and share the ideas and experience what you have and support others and have the strength to go through all of these obstacles, whatever there are, because we have them as a mother, as a parent, as a colleague, as a friend, whoever, in different aspects of life. But you have the science there as well. And why do you think that the science is so important to have there in your business? To back you up.
Especially like the scientific research even that we have, that everything is based on kind of science or science-based research or scientific research.
Yeah.
That's super important that we just, because the education is actually quite politics. It's like every country has their own education politics and everything like that. So we are not also exporting Finnish culture or Finnish education as a whole. We are exporting the best scientific method that is based on science and the research. So it's like we are making something that has evidence. We have like 4 levels.
So that you can base on some facts.
Yes, exactly. So it's not just that we think it's nice, we think it's fun, or our users
good,
just say it's nice. It's actually that it is effective. It is based on years of academic research that this is the way we should do it. So it's also easier to then talk about it. It's easier for people to then trust and start using it because they know it's based on scientific research.
It doesn't matter what industry that is, but for that reason.
Yeah, I think it helps a lot. And if you don't have the scientific research behind your innovation or something, then of course you can try to build that from your use cases and that type of a thing, or somebody else would do some kind of a research about your method if that's impactful and actually scientifically proven. But if we think about cosmetic industry and those type of things, it's like totally different things what you can say also in different countries, like, okay, put that cream on and you would look like 20 years younger. Is that scientifically proven, or where that comes from?
I see.
And I think in Finland we are really like that. We believe that when we say something,
it has to be based
on scientific research.
Yeah. There has to be whatever research behind.
We just cannot say we are the best unless we actually are based on scientific research and we can say that this is the best way.
That's based in our nationality.
Yeah, it is, but it helps at least for us then that we can actually say it's scientifically proven.
Well, it doesn't harm, I would think, in any other businesses to have research behind, like you said. But I want to touch point also something that you mentioned earlier, this imagination and storytelling and the experimental part. But what has it done to you as a CEO of having this imagination there around you?
I would say that it helps also for our team and myself, as I'm kind of the artist by heart as well. It's like when you are doing something, not like, okay, we have done this 10 years the same time, maybe we should think differently. So kind of the imagination of, well, we do a lot of these workshops when we think like, what are the craziest things we could come up with? Like, what are the things that, and then we go from there, that we start from the craziest ideas and then think about what we could actually try out. So it's like even start that you are not in a box of thinking things, that you actually think beyond. That's really helpful also in a business to make new innovations and creative thinkings.
I think that's the only way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's just what I think.
And also the storytelling. It's like when every time you are telling your story as a person or what you do or something, like if you can tell a story, that's much more interesting.
I think it goes beyond your understanding. It kind of stays there, and then you start wondering, what if I do that, or what if we do that, or whatever that goes. So it has helped you to lead and be part of the company. Yeah,
of course. And I think we should just play more, imagine more, and we would get much more impactful companies and innovations.
So CEOs, go out and play.
Yes.
With your team or just by yourself.
Yeah.
But just bring that. I think that's very, very interesting part. And I know that there have been some researches about that. And the studies have shown that the more the CEO or the leader of the company does different kind of thing and plays around with different industries in the business, those are the companies that really succeed in different terms. And success is whatever it is to any one of us, but you get more benefits.
And I think it's also kind of releases your thinking that you don't have to be perfect. That you can be playful, you can think beyond. It's like you don't have to be in a certain frame or think about things in a certain way, that you can really just be open out there and kind of release yourself and your thinking and not be afraid of that you would say something fool or funny.
Just go out.
Wrong. Yeah.
Just do that. You kind of answered my last question, but I still want to ask this one. Maybe you say something different for the audience and us to learn. What can we all learn from the kids and education part and putting the technology in there?
I really would hope we would kind of keep the curiosity we have when we are kids. Curiosity about new learnings and just in general about life and people also that we are curious about. So every time you are in an event or somewhere, be curious about other people's and you might learn at the same time something new.
And speak out. Yeah. Just stand up.
Exactly. And I hope we would get also more self-confidence. I'm optimistic when we have with young kids that they are quite often super brave of trying new things. And then we are pushed when we go to school and business life, we are super afraid or scared of trying new things or stuff that we don't make fool out of ourselves. So I hope we can get the courage from there.
Yeah, just break those boundaries.
Yeah.
To be more out there and just try.
And take risks.
That's good. Yeah. And you can
start from small.
Yeah, but you can take any risks if you are put into the box.
Yep.
And you are not encouraged to think with the imagination and all that sort of things, just to play around. I like that. Thank you for that. But before we end this, where the audience can find you if they want to learn more about your company and what you do, or buy your things and just talk about things with you, where do they find you?
Easiest way, kidescience.com. Also you can find me from all the social media channels, also Kide Science. So that is the easiest way. And exactly, you can try out either in English or Finnish our platform for free. So just go to kidescience.com.
There we go. Go to Kide Science and just experience what there is for adults also.
Let's play together and explore together.
I like that. That's a good way to end. Let's explore and play together. Yeah. Well, Sari Hurme-Mehtälä, thank you so much for being part of the podcast of Channel Business Podcast and to find out the essential parts what education and technology can do for us. So I truly want to thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.